For a long time, the sign out front said Stanley Whitman House, built circa 1660, and a lot of people still have that in their heads. But in the 1980s, we had a team from Yale here who did some research and restoration, and they looked at the land records. And lo and behold, if you look at the land records, even though this parcel of land was sold several times before that point, the first time the house is mentioned in the land records is until 1720, which was the year that a Deacon John Stanley, whom we credit with building the house, sold it to a man named Ebenezer Steele. Neither of them ever lived here. We think they were sort of purchasing the property as real estate speculation. Ebenezer Steele died 2 years later in 1722, at which point his daughter Mary inherited the house. And in 1725, at the time of her marriage to a man named Thomas Smith, they moved in. They were the first couple that we know lived here. So Thomas and Mary Smith lived here from 1725 to 1735. They had 5 of their 12 children here in the house. And then they moved to a larger house on Main Street, at which point our next newlywed couple moved in, Solomon Whitman and his new bride, Susanna Cole. And they lived here from 1736 until 1772, which was the year that Susanna Whitman passed away. And later that year, her husband remarried and moved into his new wife's home.
And when we walk in, we'll show you the office area, and the gallery is about between 1890 and 1900, and then the really ancient houses in front of that. So there are different phases to the building. Mm-hmm. But you'll see when you walk into the ancient house that it changes markedly. It's all original. Now the wall coverings have been, or the wall sheathing has been changed. It underwent a restoration in the mid-1980s. Some of the floors are replacement floors done in the late 19th century. But the support beams, everything else is original. And all the material, all the furnishings in the house, although they were not here originally in the house, are all period between 1680 and 1770. So,
what is this?
There's 2 boys that passed in the house. One was 1 and one was 3.
3. Those were boys of the Smiths. They both died in 1729.
And then Susanna Whitman?
Susanna was the mother of the next family that moved into the house, and she died in 1772.
Do you know what they died from by any chance?
I think the boys, there was an epidemic of spotted fever at the time, so it was probably disease.
Probably that. We don't know what happened to Susanna.
She could have just passed away from natural causes. How many children did they have?
They had 6 here, I think, the Whitmans. People have heard whistling in the house, usually when people are here by themselves in the afternoon. There are people working upstairs who feel like they're being watched. There was a cleaning guy here early in the morning, last fall or winter, and he heard a woman singing in the kitchen of the historic house. And then, I guess that was late at night, and then the following morning another woman came in, independent of him. She heard the same thing, singing in the kitchen of the historic house. They both thought it was a woman. Same cleaning guy early in the morning was coming in the door, and my office is right up here in an 1890s addition to the house, and he thought he saw a child in historic clothing looking out the window. What is this?
There have also been reports of the sounds of footsteps being heard coming from the second floor floorboards when nobody else is in the house. Also, doors and drawers on the second floor seem to open on their own.
I mean, we can't say we've had a lot of activity here. It hasn't been intense, but there have been little things over the years by vastly different people, and we've never had anybody feel anything malevolent or uncomfortable, other than the feeling of being watched, but even that hasn't been uncomfortable, so we always think of these as sort of benign.